I feel like there's two types of people. There's people who write down every single goal they have and they have it in this notebook. And then there's other people who don't know at all what exactly they want, but they have a clear mindset of the things they need to do to get where they want to be. I feel like I'm neither. And I feel like a lot of people are neither. I feel like a lot of people kind of sit in that limbo of like in the middle where sometimes if it's super important, you'll write it down. If you just got some money, you might write your grocery list down. But when it comes to like, what am I going to do with my life? It's like, well, fuck, like what do we do? And one thing that I've noticed, not just with me, but with other people that really abets and kind of makes that situation worse is that we still kind of get shit done. Certain people, I feel like even without that meticulous planning or that real thought provoked kind of obsession, we still kind of get shit done. Like I feel like I obsess over things in a different way than just writing it down or knowing exactly what it is that I want, if that makes sense. But I know exactly what I want to do and how I need to do everything that I need to do to get where I want to be, to feel how I want to feel, if that makes sense. But I've never been either or so specifically. And I think that growing and learning is that there is no either or, there is no like line that you have to walk. I feel like fuck it, if it's a grocery list and I want to make sure I spend the right budget, we'll write everything down. But if it's like what type of man am I going to be in 15 years? Like, what do you mean write down 5 things you're going to do in 15 years? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 15 years. I want to set myself up so that I can be doing the things that I would want to be doing to feel the way I would want to in 15 years. But I don't know how people will just assume or decide that that's how they're going to live their life out. So meticulously thought out and planned. I say this all because recently one thing I have been doing is writing down my goals, of course, ironically. And I feel like the effects of writing it down, of course, they say write things down, don't just type it. I use my notes for years. And I feel like there should be a case study on if the note taking application really does deter you. But, anyways, I think that with writing my notes or with writing my goals down, I kind of understand the severity of them a little bit more. Like writing it down on paper and looking at it and seeing what it is a little bit realer, honestly. And I hate to say that because I was always that guy that'd say, hey, well, no, I'll take my notes on my phone. I'm fine, like I'll take a picture. And writing things down on a piece of paper and visualizing what that paper and what that word kind of has to mean for myself, I feel like it does something to your mind. And it makes these goals and these things that you want to accomplish a lot more real. Not more close, not more apparent, but just realer. Anyways, if you're struggling with goal taking, holy shit, with, I guess, task driven motivation, which is what I would call it, I think the best thing to do is to say fuck all of the goals, fuck all the tasks. You need to just focus on one particular thing and be excellent at it. And I think that that's like a mantra that's kind of passed down from every successful person, but goals are a facade of the things that you really want. Goals are the things you need to accomplish to feel the way that you want to feel, to be happy, if that makes sense. Because it's not like the things directly themselves that you're accomplishing are going to give you the satisfaction. Maybe they are. Maybe it's a judo tournament that you're trying to be the champion of, and standing on the podium is the final destination. But in most cases, it really the goals that we write down and the things that we're trying to accomplish are aligned and kind of a pathway to the feelings that we want to get to and the way we want to kind of perceive how we would feel all the time. I think that that's why writing down goals and like sticking to them is so hard, because the feelings change. Like you get closer to things, you accomplish things, and the fire isn't there anymore. I knocked on doors for the last year straight, or year and a half straight, managed a team, taught people how to do it. And it seemed like as soon as like kind of like the management group that I was fighting so hard for, like was gone because the company was downsizing, everybody left. So I just lost the spark that kind of like pushed me to do more. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm a grown ass man, right? Like I should be fighting for myself. But it was almost like I had this extra kick in my step for whatever it was that I had to accomplish because it was for a purpose and for something to prove, like I had some pride in it. And I think that taking that and reapplying that to like the situation I'm in now with writing my goals down and trying to be more goal oriented, it backfires often. I feel like we don't have to be so focused on the goal because even in the times where I was doing the most volume or the best that I can perceive what was the best or what was my peak, it was really never about the goals. It was always about the feelings that I wanted to feel after I did everything. And I paid attention to that because I think that that's something that really does discern and change how you should perceive writing down and tracking what you want to do. Because as like Alex Ramosi says, I think find out what you want to do and do so much volume that it's impossible that you would fail is 1000% correct. Like that, I am one of the people that does more volume because it just works. But I think that the volume has to be intentional, not in a way of accomplishing your goals, but in a way of getting you to feel the way that you want to feel after you accomplish your goals. And I think you get a much more powerful kick and a much more distinct drive when you can understand the difference between writing something down on a piece of paper for the purpose of accomplishing it and writing down the things that you need to accomplish to feel the way that you want to feel. And it's a much more fulfilling chase to chase that feeling instead of chasing those things because you don't realize that the feeling is the thing attached to those things that brings you so much joy and ecstasy. But really, why wouldn't we just chase the feeling? It's almost as if we should write down our goals and say what we want to feel and how we want to feel, not what we need to do to feel them. That might help you in a way, that might not. I'm not saying that this is some revolutionary way to change how you look at goal writing or deciding what your goals are, but for me, I think that there's a much more honorable and prideful kind of feeling when you can facilitate and kind of isolate what it is that you really want, the feeling associated with it, the way that people perceive you when you're in that situation, the way that your lifestyle is when you have the things that you have, when you accomplished it, and not just getting there itself. Because, of course, the journey, love the journey, is part of every millionaire story or whatever, but I think that it's a misconception to be so in love with the journey. Because the journey is part of the process and pain is going to happen. If you really want anything, anybody who's watching this, who ever wanted anything serious, if you wanted that shit, you had to endure something for it. So I feel like the same way we look at our goals, the pain is inevitable and the process is inevitable. So what we should focus on, knowing how our minds work and how they kind of can morph our reality into what we perceive and what we think is real, we should see ourselves accomplishing the feelings. Because even after, let's say, we'll go back to the martial artist who's hitting a hard-ass workout session. He has fucking a tournament 6 weeks out, and he's in the pains part. Like, he's training every day, sweating, getting off of work, and flipping motherfuckers over for 3 hours before he goes home. No matter what, if you're truly convicted, and if you believe that you're gonna get where you need to be to feel how you wanna feel, when you go home after that training session, you feel like a fucking champion because you already won. And that's another talk completely, mindset and how you should look at things and how you should perceive your world. But my point being is, it doesn't really necessarily mean loving the journey. It has to be loving the pain and feeling the pain and wanting to feel more, because that's sadistic and you don't need to want to feel the pain. You need to want to feel the good parts of the story because that'll drive you through the pain. There's a quote that a man that has any why can endure any how, something along that line. I probably butchered that. But the point being is someone with a purpose can endure any process or get through anything to accomplish what they need to. And I think when we go back to looking at goals, if we just write down on pieces of paper, brand new 2026 S6 or brand new Mercedes-Benz AMG or RS7 or new house or PS5 or streaming setup, whatever it might be that you want, it's a lot less motivating to look at the paper and see that, because you can look on Amazon and see half of those things. You can look at car dealership websites and see those things. But instead, what I found with goal writing and trying to keep track of what I want is I'm not either of those two type of people. I want the feeling. So when I chase my goals now, I write down exactly how I want to feel after I get what I want. So, for instance, let's say I'm going to say I want a GT3 RS, which is something that I want in my life. I'm going to get one. It's not about when I get one or how, because I have to figure that out, because I'm going to get one. But it's about how I'm going to feel in the car with my girl in the passenger seat and, you know, the music blasting and the fucking wind blowing and, like, the feeling, you know? Because that's a lot more fruitful to chase than $235,000 right now. Probably not gonna be that even, so. But I think that you should remember that goals are about the process, but success is about the feelings. I'm out.